the President of the Student Representative Council, or the SRC for short. The other day, I had the opportunity to sit down with Patti France, the President of Clair College, where she was able to address many of the questions that you guys may have. Please take a look.
You'll be a great president.
Thank you so much.
You're passionate, you're kind, you're hardworking, all of the great characteristics that one needs. So you will be great.
Thank you so much. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. I just wanted to start by saying, thank you for everything that you've done for the students. I know that you've been working so hard.
Oh, thanks. There's lots to do, and it is busy. I mean, we're busy on a good day, but COVID has made things much more busier, unfortunately, because I mean, we're hoping for the best, but you got to plan for the worst, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure that we have backup plans to the backup plans, so that if you can switch things on a dime, then we have the ability and the flexibility to be able to do that. So ultimately, it's all about you guys. So that's what we're trying to just deal with, and it's just tough because everything is changing so fast. So fast. We need to still make sure that we're respecting all of the rules of public health and social distancing, and making sure that everyone is as safe as they possibly can be.
Receiving a lot of good feedback saying that Clair College is doing just its best to keep us safe. I understand that we're still doing online, but it's for the best for all of us.
I'm at work every day, very much trying to lead by example and make sure we are social distancing and doing all of those things. It's so not normal for us, and especially me. So if you don't have little things to remind you all the time, it's just easy to default back to your old habits. So we're trying really hard to be overt, and but anyways.
Yeah, no, and when I walked in here, I noticed like the little square.
Little
so I was
signs,
like, that's really awesome. Yeah.
Well, this way, if a guest comes or a student comes or someone needs to see me, I don't want to say I won't meet. I mean, again, obviously, many people are comfortable to have virtual meetings and virtual conversations. So that's always an option as well. And most of my meetings are virtual. But if it's really important and there is something that's required face-to-face, then at least we have the ability to accommodate. Yeah. It's very different. It's really hard sometimes virtually to get that engagement, and you hope everybody is following you and understanding, and you know, but it's just not the same. And when you don't have, especially when people turn off their videos, if they're having difficulties with bandwidth or internet, it's hard because you don't see body language. You know, you can hear a tone of a voice, but that's not nearly as important as body language and cues. So I miss the cues, I miss the contact too. I very much I'm a people person, so it's I'll be hopeful and happy when we can get back to normal. Whatever that new normal will be.
Exactly, I have a lot of questions from the students, and they just want to know what's going to happen, when are we going to become back to normal, what will the college look like post-COVID?
Post-COVID, well, those are all very good questions, and I wish I had someone to answer all of those questions for me, because I equally have some of those questions, Jorge. And we're trying really hard right now. The college is working on a phased-in approach, for when we are able to reopen, and there's a lot of steps, a lot of work that has gone into it. We've made modifications for the spring semester, and again, normally you create a delivery plan for a semester, and then you roll it out. In this particular circumstance, we have 3 different delivery plans for spring. We have 3 different potential delivery plans for fall, because we don't know. Again, I think it's really important that we hope for the best. I think hope's really important. Hope's important for me, that at some point we can come back face to face and do some things that are important. And we want to be able to make sure that, again, we've planned for the worst but hope for the best. So even for fall, for example, you know, where we can do classes online, we'll do that. But the beauty, and I think the strength of a college education, is that hands-on, work-integrated learning elements that are embedded in every single vocational program. So if you're not here, then it's hard to do some of those hands-on elements. So we are working towards hoping that we can, at least if we can't do them all, we can do pieces of them, and we can do the important pieces of them. And actually we've been working with the province as a college system, all 24 presidents and colleges Ontario, to work on a pilot project that I think you've heard about, or Amy talk about, for stranded students. There are some students that required that hands-on element for winter that still have not had the opportunity to complete, and it's really, really important to me that we don't hold anybody back, and our minister was very, very supportive. Minister Romano was very supportive of that. So we've been working with him, and he's been working really hard to try and allow us to reopen in a very safe, careful way, working with public health and the chief medical officer in Toronto to see if we can at least somehow get our stranded students back. And I believe that we will know very shortly whether that pilot project is successful or not. And I also think the pilot project is really important and can be used as a springboard to create some aha moments for us. I'm not going to sit here, Jorge, and pretend I know everything. I don't. And you guys are equally as important. And the feedback that we get from our students or staff are important. And we've solicited that through our breakfast meetings, through student leaders, through our health and safety committees. But when we try, if we can launch the pilot, and there's some lessons to be learned, then it will give us the opportunity to embed those lessons and those aha moments into our fall planning and our winter planning when we hope to have more students back on campus. We know it will be a phased-in approach. I don't think we're going to have 13,000 students back on campus. But again, if we can have those on campus that need to be on campus and manage it and make sure we're doing things like social distancing and having appropriate protection equipment, PPE, and doing all of those careful things and making sure that we know who's on campus, the numbers that are on campus, making sure that we respect different section sizes that perhaps we didn't have to worry about or think about in the past. Even our residents, for example. Again, we chatted about this yesterday, but in Windsor, for example, we have 408 beds. Well, we're only going to book half of those. Rather than have 2 per suite, we're going to have 1 per suite. Because we just want to make sure that we're protecting everybody and we're really being responsible and doing our due diligence. So we're working through those plans now so that we can hopefully have a blended model for fall. And again, we hope that we will get approval on the pilot project, and then that pilot project will be a springboard for us to do that much of a better job in fall and winter when we are able to phase in our opening. So the minister is working really hard, I know, to get us that, and he's telling us to stay tuned, so hopefully we'll hear something very soon.
Yeah, hopefully I know I heard a lot of the students ask them like, well, my program requires hands-on, so are we going to be able to come to the campus? And I still say like, oh, we're not like 100% sure, but I'm sure that those programs will accommodate. I know that you guys are doing amazing just to keep everybody updated.
Well, thank you, Jorge. I know the students and the staff are getting lots of memos from me, which I feel badly about. I certainly don't want to fill their inboxes, but I think it's really important to try and be communicative. And in the absence of information, then you wonder. So we're trying to do that, and as soon as the pilot is approved, again, I'm very hopeful that will happen. Then we will make sure that news goes out to our students as well. But I think what we were trying to communicate to returning students and any potential incoming students is what we're hoping for is a blended model, for the fall and for winter, that it truly won't be 100% online. We appreciate we can't have everybody here face to face the way we would traditionally deliver, but a blended model from our perspective would allow us to at least provide that experiential learning, that hands-on element, and the courses that are more aligned with online delivery then can be delivered in that way. So that's the plan, and you've probably seen some announcements on sports. So that was just communicated yesterday, on Monday, and that was really tough for us too. Athletics, and as you know, Jorge, because you've been engaged in a lot of student conversations with the senior team on planning, athletics and student life are very, very important to us. Student support, student services, all of those things add to the experience when you go into post-secondary. It's not, your education obviously is very important to us, and that you have the required tools to be successful and to get a job, but student life and athletics is an element of that student life is equally as important. And it's those relationships, it's those memories that one creates when they're going through their post-secondary program that will stay with them in their heart forever and ever. You know, I know lots of students that have met spouses, that have made lasting friendships. There's student leaders that I still talk to today. You know, professors and students that still communicate. So that's equally important. So again, what we've done for the fall semester is we've indicated that the fall sports are suspended. Again, that word suspended is very, very important. It doesn't say cancel. And we did that very deliberately. I think it's important to send hope to our students, and what we're trying to do is give them that hope that for fall we realize that sports will be very difficult, especially if we have to make that decision today. Again, things are evolving, but if we have to make that decision today, we've decided that we would suspend sports and for now, and we will revisit winter in October. And we're really hoping that we can move some of the sports that would traditionally get delivered in the fall to spring. And even if it means maybe a compressed, you know, delivery or something, that we would still give the option and the availability for all of our students to play in some way, shape, or form. So that's what we're hoping for. So, so stay tuned.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think, like, even though I'm not a very athletic person, I don't do many sports, that to hear that word suspended instead of cancel, like, I gave scope.
Okay, well that's good, because that was exactly what it was meant to do. And again, you know, I don't make all the games at St. Clair College. I try to make, you know, at least the important ones and attend, you know, at least a half a dozen a year. And when you go there and you see the crowd, it's really, really gratifying, and you're reminded of the importance of student life that the athletes and athletics bring to St. Clair College. So hopefully we'll see it soon at some point.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, because all the games that I've attended, I see everybody just cheering, just having fun together. So it is a big part of the student life. So to hear that it might come back, it's very exciting.
We're very hopeful. And the sports park is continuing to evolve. We believe that it will be completely done in August, and so we're still moving forward with that. COVID did change the plans a little bit and extend the construction timelines, but we're hoping by August, mid-August, it will be completed, and we will still do some sort of ribbon cutting, because again, that is very, very important. We have spent a lot of energy. SRC has, our Student Athletic Association has, our construction companies, our architects, our staff. So that's really, really important to us. So we're hoping that we can still have some sort of ribbon cutting in early fall, even if we have to practice social distancing, that we do that, but we celebrate that success and that accomplishment, because it has been, what, 2 years in the making, I think 2.5 years in the making. So we're almost there. So lots of things are still continuing, and we're still moving forward with the Zuckelman Business and Information Technology Tower. Again, timelines unfortunately have been delayed because of COVID, but we're just finalizing the conceptual drawings and picking up building material and things like that. So that you'll start to see the construction on that as well. And we're still moving forward with the GEM residence. So hopefully you'll see some construction happening in that site by early fall. So lots of things still happening behind the scenes. So we haven't stopped anything. We're still continuing to move forward with all of our plans that were included with the students.
Right, no, that's amazing that you guys can continue with all those plans, just improve the college. That's amazing.
The other reason, to your question for students, the other reason, and we did go out with an announcement to move the semester from 15 weeks to 13 weeks and move the start date back to September 21st. Part of that was done to just give our staff a little bit more time to polish and finalize anything that they need to do online, to give us a little bit more time to allow hopefully for that blended model and that pilot project approval to happen. So we can then complete winter, get students back that need to be here for that, and also our spring semester is happening now. So we're hoping to be able to give our spring students the work integrated elements that they require. So pushing it back just gave us a little bit more flexibility and a little bit of breathing room for us to be able to have that blended model, if we're lucky enough to be able to do that, for September. So that's what we're doing, and then we haven't made the decision on January. We're going to see how fall rolls out. And if we need to do the 13 weeks, most schools are 13 weeks. There's only a few of us that I believe are 15 weeks. And most of them all have the same programs we do. So it just gave us a little bit more breathing room for the students, and where we need to add an hour to make sure that the students get the same course content and course contact hours, then we'll do that in a weekly basis. So instead of 18 hours, you know, a particular program might become 19 or 20, but for the most part, it'll have very minimal impact. You can make up that additional hour over those 13 weeks. So, and it was really to help us, you know, land or be able to solidify that blended model and to give everybody flexibility, and even for traveling purposes. I know a lot of students, I'm getting emails and communications from students, international students, domestic students that are traveling because of COVID. They left the community, they've got a job somewhere for the summer, but they plan to come back. So this gives everybody a little bit of flexibility in that regard as well. So, and hopefully we'll see borders open and we'll see some travel, although I appreciate it will be with lots of restrictions and regulations. Again, it just gives us a little bit more time to allow some of those things to happen. So it's evolving so quickly. What happened in March, you know, is very different than today, and on a weekly basis it's been changing. I think the provincial and federal governments have been doing a great job trying to keep everybody informed and basically reacting to the situation. There's no roadmap for COVID. This is new for all of us. So I think everyone is trying really hard to just put safety first. And I think they've done a good job in keeping us informed, and all of their TV briefings and written updates, and that really helps us also align our decision making and our plans with both the federal and the provincial government. So
well, that's amazing that you have that close relationship with them so that you can get updated and keep us updated. I've noticed, like, even before when I joined the SRC just as a regular student, I've noticed how very communicative you were. So
thank you.
Especially during the strike my first year. So every week I would receive all the updates and everything. So as a student, I feel like you've done an amazing job just to keep communicated with everyone, not just the staff, but also the students.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, I appreciate that sometimes the messaging and you know, not everybody agrees with the messaging, and I appreciate there's different perspectives, and knowing those perspectives is helpful. And the students are always really good, Jorge, in making sure that we're aware of all of those nuances, because we can't think of everything. But I think being communicative is really, really important. And I feel so badly for some of our graduates this year, because some of them may have started in a strike, graduated in COVID, and that just is just so very sad for me. So we just actually on Monday taped a virtual convocation so that we could give a message to our students, and the president of our alumni association also is in the virtual convocation, delivered a message, and we at least want to take the time to acknowledge each and every one of those graduates for you know, staying with it, being tenacious, and just plowing through and staying focused. And I think it was really, really important to make sure. I wish we could get them to cross the stage, but at least if we can scroll their name, that's really, really important to me, to give them all recognition. So so we'll air that soon. But yes, it's been a rough couple of years for sure.
For sure, yeah.
So you started in the strike, Jorge. So you're one of those students as well.
Who started the strike and then graduated with like COVID. So.
I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault, man. No, I as a student who graduated, like, I feel that that's very important that you guys are doing, just rolling the names and
congratulating everyone who is graduating. So thank you for doing that. I know
my goodness, I wish we could do more. And we will send certainly a personal letter out to the students and make sure that they get their layer pipe and their pin and their credentials as well. But it's just not the same.
No.
So
you just have to adapt. And
yes, unfortunately.
Just baby steps, I think.
We're very hopeful that we can still have our fall convocation in October, even if it looks differently, even if we have to, change some nuances so that maybe we can respect social distancing, and if we have to eliminate other elements to allow our graduates to cross the stage. We're hoping that that will be possible in October, and certainly we are inviting our graduates in June to come to the October convocation. I know, again, may not be ideal for many, but we at least wanted to give them the opportunity to cross the stage at some point. So,
well, thank you. Thank you. One of the questions that I received from many students is about the tuition prices, how they're going to look, are they going to be changing, are they going to be increasing, decreasing?
Tuition for the fall is pretty much in line. I think there was a small increase for international. The student fee protocol is, I believe, online now, so students will have the opportunity to go and look at that. And we did give back ancillary fees for winter, and we did not charge them for spring. St. Clair College was pretty unique in that regard. And we were very lucky because we had the support. The ancillary fees are not just St. Clair Colleges. They're in conjunction with our Student Representative Council, our TEM Students Incorporated, our Student Athletic Association, our Alumni Association. So aligning everybody to be able to return the ancillary fees was not just a Patti France effort or a St. Clair College effort. It was an effort of all of those stakeholders that came together and said, let's do this. So it was pretty unique in the system, and the colleges did not give tuition refunds back for winter, nor did they offer tuition refunds or reductions for spring, nor do they plan to for fall, because the outcomes, college education is based on outcome education, so the outcomes are not changing. And even what we talked about for fall, even though I'm changing my duration from 15 to 13 weeks, we're still meeting minimum hours, we're still meeting all of the outcomes. And in some cases, for our poor faculty and for the institution and our administration and support staff, we're making 3 plans for delivery. And we're still, again, student services are still really, really important to us. So we're trying to make sure, and even for spring, and we did in the winter, although I'm not sure students really understood everything that was available to them in the winter, but we're making sure that we're delivering all of these services online. And we still will have some face-to-face. If people want appointments, we will respect social distancing. But we have mental health services, we have student life services, we have student services, we have tutoring, we have counseling support. We have all of that. You probably can go on and on and on for your own segment and all that you're doing for online services for students, in addition to the Student Athletic Association, our Alumni Association, our TEM Students Incorporated. I think they really have put a lot of effort and creativity into what can be provided to our students online, and making sure that those services are still upfront and available for our students. So because of that, there will not be, for fall and winter, there will not be any plans for ancillary refunds like we did for winter and spring. And we probably will not be charging parking in the fall. So we did return that in the fall, or in the winter, to students. In the spring we didn't charge. Even if we're a blended model, in the spring and fall, we probably will not be charging for parking, although we'll have to figure out who's on campus and what lots they're parking in, so we can avoid chaos here on campus. But because we appreciate that students won't be here on an ongoing basis every single day, we're trying to figure out that right now. We just had a conversation on it yesterday, so that's a fee we just won't charge. And then hopefully it will be back to normal, or somewhat normal, for January, and then we will continue the fees at that point. So,
that's good to hear, like, from a student who, they pay a lot of fees sometimes, and parking is one of the biggest thing that they get first. So it's to hear that you're not going to be charging the students for parking. That's
for fall, for sure. And you know, I know there's, if you come here at Startup, and I'm sure you have seen Jorge, although you can get your parking pass online, all the students want to come on campus to get their parking pass, and so there's no point in doing any of that right now anyways. Let's keep people safe. And but we are going to make some changes to parking. We're just solidifying our plans, and as you know, we're just yesterday we asked for some student input on some of the changes that we want to implement from a parking perspective, and really those changes come from the feedback that we've received at our monthly student breakfast meetings and our class rep meetings from you guys, to make sure that we're providing the service that you want, and we're enhancing it on an ongoing basis. So some of those recommendations, hopefully you recognize as being recommendations last year. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a while to implement, so that's what we'll work on, those implementation changes now and into the summer, and then they'll be ready for fall and January, when hopefully parking is back to normal.
Hopefully, hopefully we're all back to normal by January. That's the hope. I know, like, a lot of the students that I've talked to, they're very curious, like, what's going to happen, or what's Sinclair gonna look like post-COVID. So I've been trying to just say that, we're just working on baby steps. We're just working closely with the Ministry of Health. So once we get more updates, we'll continue updating you. But yeah, like, that's a lot of the questions that I've been receiving is from.
The other two things that we're doing, Jorge, which you just heard about as a student leader, but I think is really, really important for all students and all staff, is as part of the phased-in planning that we're doing for COVID on what it looks like when we are allowed to potentially reopen gradually, is health and safety and awareness. And I think that is really, really important, and that is key to all of the planning that we're doing. So we will be doing mandatory training for students and for staff, because if there isn't awareness of expectations and requirements, I can't keep people safe. So we're going to be rolling that out, and we will be working with the student leaders to figure out what is the best way in which to do that, in addition to orientation. And then also we want to create a handbook so that students and staff also have a resource that they can refer to, because we appreciate that you can't remember everything in a training module, no matter how good the training is. So this way we hope to have a virtual tool and training, a desk manual or health and safety manual that will be specific to COVID, that will speak to social distancing, respect, PPE, all of those things, common space, hallways, cafeteria, all of those nuances that we're just so used to, ingrained in utilizing those spaces as we have traditionally used them. And it will be different, and it will be new, and we want to make sure we keep people safe. So want to provide the service and have the services available, but just want to do it in a very safe way. So the training will be a huge element of that rollout plan. So once the student leaders give us an opportunity to give us some feedback, then we will be getting all of that available to our students, and appreciating that we'll probably roll it out to the spring students first, because they're the ones that we hope potentially in winter, the winter students that have to come back on campus to graduate. So it will probably be the winter students first, then the spring students, and then we'll work during the summer months to roll it out to the fall students before students come back in September. And that also gives us another reason for us backing it out to September 21st. If students are busy during the summer with jobs, they also have that beginning of September that they can also do the training. So again, lots of reasons why we decided to push the date back, just to give lots of people additional time so that we're all ready and safe.
Amazing, no, yesterday when Rebecca was showing us the plan of how it's going to look like with the training, I was just thinking, you guys were thinking of everything, because even like the water fountains, I forgot like that we have them. And
well, we tried, but that's why again we want the student feedback is really, really important, because what we did is when we did the staff, we then said, okay, if we were a student walking in your shoes, what does that look like? But as hard as we try, you guys always come back. Education, certainly for me at St. Clair College and as president, has never been one way, Jorge.
No.
The student leaders and the students of St. Clair College inform and educate me as much as I hope our professors educate our students, because you guys are very creative, you have great ideas, you have good suggestions, and they're always very student focused. So that's why we're making sure we're taking the time to give you everything, bounce ideas off of you, solicit the input, and then we can modify accordingly based on the input that we're given. And when we roll it out, it won't be perfect, I know that, and we can tweak things and we can adapt, and if we need to be flexible, then we can modify our approach if need be, because again, who knows, you know, if there's a second wave of COVID, what will happen. And again, I think it's really, really important to me that we, again, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And we have all of those plans embedded so that we can enact them if we need them. So.
No, we appreciate that, all the work. I know that COVID it can go away or it can come back, so just to know that you guys are thinking of the worst, that's good to hear that you guys are planning ahead, so to keep us all safe. So
we look forward to your feedback and then rolling it out to the students.
We'll review it and then give it to you guys as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of the nursing students from the practical nursing program, they were wondering about the bridging program from RPN to RN. Will that be implemented at St. Clair at one point, or?
We have certainly been trying to implement the bridging program, my goodness, for a very long time, I can say over a decade. So we are certainly in dialogue with the University of Windsor to do that, and we do think that it likely will not be launching this fall because of everything going on with COVID, but we have plans to basically launch it soon. Even our degree, we were supposed to do our business and communications degree in the School of Business and IT, and we were hoping to launch that in fall and a few other things. And just with everything going on with COVID, and we've also seen, to be very candid, a decreased interest domestically and internationally from students. I think students are unsure of what their plans are because they want to know, is it online, is it blended, is it face-to-face? Certainly the feedback that I've heard from both students and staff, but I'll stick to the students. Some students love online and tell me they absolutely love it and keep it going and keep doing it. And Jorge, some students hate it. They do not like online approach. They do not believe that it is a conducive environment for their learning. Everybody, there's lots of different ways to learn, and for some it's just not conducive to their learning style. And they are hoping that if it's not at least blended or face-to-face, they may just sit out a semester, sit out a year. Some students have shared that, you know, they might go back to high school for a year. We don't even know what's happening through K through 12. So we've just taken a pause because if we're going to launch these new things, we also want to make sure that we are launching them in a quality manner, so that we're not rushing through them and everything is being appropriately considered. So, but I know Linda Watson, the chair of the School of Nursing, is a big advocate for the bridging program, and I think we can leverage the opportunity. Healthcare professionals are very much needed right now. They are an essential service, and I think the governments are also very keen in trying to get and find pathways to graduate healthcare professionals and to implement pathways for these healthcare professionals. So I think at least it's made it top of mind now, which is very helpful, which will help us implement the bridging, program. So.
No, that's good to hear that.
And PSWs is part of the reasons why we were, PSWs in practical nursing, was why we were really working with the ministry to get back our stranded students. Practical nursing needs their practical elements and their clinical before they can graduate. So it's really, really important to me that we give them that experience and that exposure so that they can meet the vocational outcomes of the program. And we're also looking at creative ways that even if we can't get them back into the hospital site for all of it, maybe we can get them back for some of it, and we can use simulation here for the other if the ministry is supportive of the pilot project. So we've got all kinds of plans underway to, again, if that pilot project is approved, stay tuned, because then I think a lot of these students will get communications that required some of these elements for winter and for spring. And practical nursing is clearly one of those that we're staying focused on to make sure that we can give them their clinical in one way, shape, or form so that they can graduate.
Yeah, so that's good to hear, especially for PSW practical nursing. Like you said, they're very essential, and I know that I have friends who are in those programs, and they would really appreciate just to come back and have that clinical experience so that they can get that experience so they can graduate and be successful in their career.
Yes.
So,
and again, hopefully the pilot will get approved and we'll figure out a path forward. And the hospitals, our hospital partners, are always very, very willing, and education of our students is equally important and a priority to them as well. So Windsor Regional, Hotel Dieu, Chatham Kent, they're all willing to help and step up, do their part to help our graduates as well. So we're lucky to have good community partners.
Oh, that's amazing that you keep that communication, that relationship with the whole community, because when I think about community college, is like basically more into the community. They're very integrated with everybody, all the businesses, all the hospitals and everything. So it's good to hear that you continue that relationship.
We try, more virtual now than in person, but absolutely. It's important to keep the community element and engagement, and it provides so many opportunities for our students. Capstone projects, work integrated learning opportunities. It's really that relationship with our community and, small, medium businesses and all of the community partners that really supports the educational elements. The education we deliver certainly would not be the quality education it is today without those community partners. So it's very, very important.
It's very important. So thank you, for everything that you do for all the students, for all the staff to keep us safe. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Jorge.
Those are all the questions.
All the questions? Oh, okay, perfect.
You wanted to say a message to the students, or?
No, just thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for choosing St. Clair College. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Please continue to give us your feedback. It's very, very important to us. We appreciate that this is unprecedented times and there's lots of obstacles, but please know that we are here to support you, and your success is our success. So please continue to reach out to us and communicate your concerns and utilize our services to make sure that you're successful. And wishing you a bright and sunny summer, and hopefully we will continue to progress through COVID and the phases of COVID and reopening the college in when it is safe to do so. So thank you for your patience and your ongoing support of St. Clair College and our community.